So, the other day I was reading the book of Judges, and a verse towards the end of chapter 18 caught my eye. This verse talks about a time when the tribe of Dan ends up falling into idol worship, and what is interesting about this fact is they end up carving idols and then appoint Jonathan, which ends up being a grandson of Moses, as their priest. The reason I found this interesting is because of how quickly things go south within the bloodline of one of the most important figures at that time. Only 2 generations into the settlement of Israel, and already the grandson of Moses, Israel's greatest leader to that point, is turning directly to idol worship. I think this enlightens us to a couple of things that are important to acknowledge. The first and most obvious is how quickly things can go south or go astray from God. The idea that somebody who was so close to God could have offspring that distance themselves completely from God is certainly not unheard of, but is always a disheartening thing to see and to have to wrap your head around. Of course, it makes sense when we understand how the tribes of Israel were acting as a whole, and in fact, I think it's safe to say that we can attribute a lot more of what happened to Moses' grandson to those tribes, but at the same time, there is also a second aspect to this which is equally important, and God does talk about this in some of the laws of Exodus and Leviticus, Numbers and Deuteronomy, which is that the sins of the father are not the sins of the son, and the sins of the son are not the sins of the father. In other words, everyone is their own person, and for better or worse, we can try and train them up in the way that they should go, but the decision to follow Christ is an independent personal decision. And unfortunately, it is not something that you can make for someone else, even if that someone else is your own kid. Just a couple of sobering thoughts that come with this passage and being a Christian in general. But let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you tomorrow.